Hello, everybody. I'm Dane Gentry. This is Tired of Being Knocked Down podcast. Hope everyone's doing well. Tonight, I'm going to do something a little different I hadn't done yet. I'm going to uh, open up the NA book and I'm going to read something out of it and talk about that. I think I'm going to uh, talk about the Tradition 8, applying spiritual principles. I think it's something that's huge. I think as you grow in the program and all that, when you first come in, you might have you might not believe in God, you might not, whatever, or even if you do, or believe in something, we start applying these spiritual principles to our life. That's when we start seeing big changes. Um, I've said it many times. I'm a spiritual person. I'm not really a religious guy. I don't get into the religion and stuff. I just choose not to. Yes, I do read the Bible. I actually have studied it quite thoroughly. Um, but I was at a meeting tonight, and this whole spiritual thing kind of come on. And hey, Nick, how you doing, buddy? You want to come up? Um, See if I can get Nick to come up here. And so yeah, that's kind of, hey, buddy, how you doing?
Hey, we're good. How you doing?
Man, I'm good, man. I went to
Hear
a
me?
meeting. I mean, I got back a little late, so I had to eat something real quick. I was gonna come on at 9, but um, we're gonna be talking about. I'm gonna read something out of the NA book tonight, man. Do something a little bit different. I hadn't done that before. And talk about spiritual principles. Hey, Bella. Beth will probably be on too in a little bit. I don't know if she's going to talk, but she might be on also. So, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to read something about the spiritual principles, man. I think it's huge in recovery. Um, no matter whatever your belief is, um, spiritual to me is what it's all about. That's when we start seeing those changes. But before we get started, Nick, how's everything with that problem you had? Everything good?
No, I'm headed home now, but no, it's I'll, what can you do?
What can you do? Yeah, I know, man. What I think about is I never really done that. I did do something kind of sort of to that one time, and I think about that kind of stuff, man. I used to be that person, you know what I mean? And I think about that a lot. Bella was here. I guess she hung up. I guess.
Uh, oh
There's
well.
Carrie. Hey, Carrie, how you doing tonight? It's all right. So I'm gonna read something out of this NA book tonight, man. It's on Tradition 8. It's applying spiritual principles. Tradition 8 is one of the simplest, most straightforward of the 12 traditions. Likewise, the principles underlying the 8 tradition are eminently practical ones: humility, prudence, anonymity, and integrity. Um, I just finished dinner too. I had to come in and fix me something to eat real quick, Carrie. My buddy Nick's on here. He's usually on here with me. Carrie is in my area, and she's told me yesterday she's listening to all my shows. So now she's on here. She was on last night. Nick, just so you know. Humility, prudence, anonymity, and integrity. A NA group exercises humility when it does not pretend to be anything more or less than it is. We do not claim to be professionals or experts in anything. We are not physicians, psychiatrists, or therapists. We are recovering addicts. All we offer is our collective practical experience in getting clean and learning to live clean. The value of our program comes from the identification and trust that exists between one addict and another. That is so huge. Today, the just for today reading today or the daily meditation was all about sponsorship and the newcomer and these kind of things. And that's so important. So when a newcomer comes in, the most important thing is to grab them in, talk to them. Don't let them sit there and feel isolated because it took a lot just to walk through that door. It takes even more to raise your hand and say that you need help when you're in there and that you need a sponsor. As a man, I can only speak from a man's point of view. One of the hardest things to do is to tell another man you need help. Um, but it's so important to do that because if you listen to this and you're struggling, don't I understand I was nervous too, and I always considered myself to be somewhat of a tough guy or whatever. But I remember the first time I ever raised my hand and spoke, and man, I was nervous. My voice was cracking, and you could hear it, kind of like my first show was. On here a little bit, but that's what it's all about. We need the newcomers. We need them just as much as y'all need us. And people ask me all the time about your hugs. There you go. It's all about that hug. It truly is, And again, I was always one of them. I didn't want another man touching me in any kind of way. And but now, I hug just like, like it ain't nothing, because we need that, no matter how much we think that we don't. Um, I was going somewhere with that, and I forgot where I was going. Um, Something about the newcomer and the sponsor. Oh, um, when you ask another man for help, don't just ask. I mean, you can ask the first person, but really, what you want to do, in my opinion, is, you'll hear somebody share something, and you will feel like that they're talking to you. You can ask the person right next to you to be your sponsor, and even if they can't, they can lead you the right way, or it can be your temporary sponsor, just to get you going. And do the 90 meetings in 90 days. Everybody wants to get to know you, and they really do mean that when they say that. And you're going to feel love. If you'll open the door and let it in, that's all you're going to feel. And another thing, people ask me, this is what I was going to say a while ago. People ask me all the time about my sober day, how long I've been sober, and something hit me yesterday, and I said, I've been sober today. And I wake up and I get sober every day, and I'm just one bad turn away from not being sober again, just like everybody else. And in my opinion, the hardest thing to do was to stay sober 30 days. You got the year, it ain't all that. It gets easier. But then first 30 days, the first 48 hours, or whatever, is the toughest, especially if you're going through sickness or whatever. And, I primarily talk about NA. I used to do AA, and the reason that I don't anymore is because I spoke in a meeting one time and I said, "Hello, my name is Dane. I'm an addict," and they tried to shut me down, telling me that that wasn't what that was about. And so here's the deal: a drug is a drug. I don't care what it is. I was an alcoholic too when I was very young, and so and most alcoholics, they just hadn't tried anything else. But if they would, they would probably find that they would be addicted to that as well. So that's something that I don't like about the AA program. I will say, um, more times than not, the AA program is more structured than the NA program. Um, it's a different group of people, but it's all about love. Yes, you can. I'll call you in, Carrie. Give me just a second, and I'll hit something. You'll see something a little green come on your screen there, and you just hit it. Should I send it to you now? Um, and I saw one of the craziest things I ever saw in a meeting. I was in Florida, and I've talked about this before, and that's where I got sober. But I was in Florida, and I was in it was a AA meeting, and this guy was in there, and I knew by looking at him, I could tell he was broken. And Carrie, are you on here? It's showing me I'm connected with you, but it don't show me if you come up. If you didn't, just send me a message again. I'll hit it again. But I could tell the guy was broken, and we'd already done all the readings and stuff, and people were sharing, and he raised his hand, and the first thing this man said was, he was a younger guy, and the first thing he said was, "I need help." That's the first words that come out of his mouth. I didn't hear you. Let me see if it's. I'm gonna do it again. See if it'll get you this time. See if it. I saw it where it says I'm connected with you, but it's not showing you popping up here. I don't know why. It should show me on my screen, but I still don't see you. Are you on?
She's on my screen.
She is on your screen. Can you hear her, Nick? Carrie, can you say something? I don't even see her. I see her over on my left hand side, but I don't see her as far as like right next to you or nothing, Nick. I'm not sure why that is. When the guy said that he needed help,
Do it again.
that should have been the first thing. And no matter what he said after that, if we go by what we say in all these readings and all these things, he needed help. But what he said is that he was in a halfway house down there, and he had relapsed and had been drinking and smoking crack. When he said that about smoking crack, I saw the old heads in there. I knew. I was like, man, but I was hoping it wasn't going to go as bad as it did. And as he had been talking, he basically was saying that he had got kicked out of his halfway house and stuff, and that he didn't know what he's going to do. This, that, and other. Well, this older gentleman in there said, "Won't you just basically shut up and wait till the meeting's over and somebody will talk to you?" You don't do that. You know what I mean? They say you got 5 minutes, but when somebody's really got something going on, you kind of let them talk. But when that guy said that, this other lady said, "We don't do that. You don't do that." Then he told that lady, "Shut the F up." I mean, that's the words come out of his mouth. And that's the only time I've ever seen that happen in a meeting. And it turned into, I thought these two guys was going to fight over it. And of course, I was ready to get out of my seat, but I didn't have to. There was somebody else on it, guy talking to a woman like that. But that's just kind of things that, had that been a newcomer to come in the door the first time, he would never come back, man. and we don't want to do that. We don't. We want you to know that we love you, we care about you, and no one. It doesn't matter if someone has 30 years; they're no more important than you are. Because again, no matter if you got 30 years, 10 years, 4 years, you still have to wake up every morning and do it again, every day. Um, uh, for me, it's gotten a lot easier. I can't speak for everyone. I got a routine. I know what I do. I get up every day. I don't have cravings, thank God. I haven't had a craving in a long time, and I'm very thankful for that. But I used to always notice that when I would get sober, I wouldn't have the cravings. I know a lot of people would. Carrie, it's showing me being connected with you, Carrie, but I don't know what happened. Um, I'm invite her again and see if you come on. It may be on her end. I think. Let's see. Carrie wants to call in. There we go. I sent you an invite. It should be. See, it's showing me connected again. Are you on here, Carrie? Nick, can you hear anything? I can't hear anything. Can you?
No, I don't hear nothing.
Mm-mm. For some reason, we're not hearing you. Um, make sure you ain't muted. But again, I don't even see her. I don't know why it's doing that. Um,
She may have to leave the room and come back in.
huh?
Have her leave the room and come back in.
Yeah, just hang up and then I'll call you back up again, Carrie, in a second and see if it'll do it then. Um, I'm gonna read on a little bit in this book real quick. We further exercise humility when we recognize that sometimes we need professionals to help us fulfill our services. We place great emphasis on the therapeutic value of one addict helping another, sometimes to the extent that we are reluctant to hire professionals assistance when we need it. But some NA services require too much time or expertise for our members to fulfill on a strictly volunteer basis. We mustn't allow our pride to prevent our fellowship from hiring the help it needs to support its services. All right, I'm going to invite her again. Um, hello.
Can you hear me?
There you go. There you up here now. How are you doing?
I'm okay.
Okay, I can hear you. All right. We finally got it worked out. I don't know what was going on there.
Yeah, I don't know either. I was
Um,
muted. My microphone was not blocked. It was on, so I'm not sure. But I
I
have
can
a
barely
situation.
I can barely hear you. Nick, can you hear her?
Yeah, it's real low.
It's really low. You're no, you're low to me too, Nick.
How about that now? Is that better?
Yeah.
It's a little bit better. I'll pay real close attention. I'll be able to hear you.
Well, I'll find. It said I should maybe use my headphones, so let me see if I can connect the headphones if that works better.
Sometimes I'm gonna be honest about it. If you just take your headphones off and just talk through the speaker on your phone, a lot of times it's
Well,
better.
I'm on my phone.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
not on. I don't have my headphones on.
okay. I can hear you. I can hear you better now. Um,
I'm going to say I hear her.
yeah, I can hear you better now too, Nick.
Maybe it's
So,
yours.
It may be. It may be. I hear you. I hear you real good now, Nick.
Good.
one of my first meetings, I went to an AA meeting and I introduced myself as, I'm Carrie, I'm an addict, and I got shut down. I didn't
Yeah,
go, I didn't go back to an AA meeting for like 2 years.
and
I
that's
went
what.
to NA, but I wouldn't go to AA because I was like, that's just silly. We're all addicts. If you're addicted to alcohol, it's a drug and you're an addict. But they don't look at, they a lot of them look at it like we're worse than them.
Yeah, and in the NA reading, we say that. We specifically say that about alcohol. That's different. But for a long time, even Beth couldn't understand. I would go to AA, and she's like, "I don't understand," because she's never seen me drink. Um, I would even when I was still using. Um, I would have this deal where I would be like, you know what, I'm gonna drink something, and I would get a 6 pack of beer or a bottle of vodka or something, and I would take maybe 2 or 3 sips out of it, and that was it. But I always remembered when I started drinking, I became alcoholic, and so I just kind of knew it, and I think that's really what it was, kind of that voice. But I just felt like it was more structured. But now I'm primarily NA, but um, I'm going to be moving, and so there's a lot of things changing. I'm fixing to be changing a lot of things, and sponsor is going to be one of them. And I'm going to keep the same sponsor for a little while, but and then I'm still going to talk to this man for forever. You build amazing friendships, true friendships, and stuff in here and stuff like that. But and so what that's going to do, that opens the door for me to work steps again, which is, you can never do that enough. So it could be God's way of saying that I need to. But I'm going to I'm gonna start doing a little bit more as a celebrate recovery thing. I like it, and Nick, you wasn't on last night. I forgot, but you don't know that. I'm going on with that sober living house on the 17th. I'm gonna be opening it up. Um,
You're still gonna open it?
yeah, we're gonna do it on the 17th.
You
Uh,
and Beth?
yes, we are.
Good.
She's supposed to come on. She's on a phone call right now with someone she's talking to, has some problems going on and stuff like that. But I think she's going to jump on in a little while. Maybe, I don't know if she's going to talk or if she's just going to listen. But let me see. Let me read a little bit more in this book. Basically, what that was saying there is that don't get confused in thinking that we are professionals. We can sit up here and talk, addiction and what we need to do, but none of us. There are professionals in it, but the majority of people are not what you need. And so, if you have mental health and all this stuff going on, don't be stubborn about that either. Reach out for that help and get it. That is very, very important. And that's been coming up a lot the past few days with me. People have been asking me to talk about it, and me and Beth have had a show that we want to do about it because that's her thing. And she wrote a bunch of stuff. So uh, we're going to try to get more resources on stuff like that, and some other resources on getting some guys some jobs and these different things. And um, the big thing about that is just when we started, is just trying to get good people in and not weed out the bad, but you're going to have relapses. You're going to have people who, pretty much just need a place to go, and that's okay as long as you want to straighten your life out and do the right thing. But if you don't, you're not going to be allowed there. But we will try to. We got contacts with treatment centers. If you just need to call us and tell us you're thinking about coming there, that's fine too. We'll get you in a treatment center and get you in a 90-day program, get you in a 30-day program, get you in a year-long program. Whichever one, all three of them. One of them three will definitely have a bed for you. So just let us know. All right. So neither should we hire special workers for jobs we can do ourselves. We must exercise prudence in employing professional assistants for our services. Most NA service responsibilities do not require special expertise or large, consistent commitments of time. And again, another reason that is also is because we all have regular lives. Mine gets busier and busier every day, but I like that. I want to be busy. I'm that type of person. I've always been. I love to go to bed at a decent hour and get up early in the morning, drink my coffee, and get my day started. Spend time with God and do all the things I need to do to start my day. But that doesn't mean that no matter what, man, you call. If I don't answer right then, I'm going to call you back. Our members are perfectly capable of filling such responsibilities on a volunteer basis. By exercising prudence, we can distinguish between those tasks requiring the support of special workers and those we can fulfill voluntarily. You'll find a lot of volunteers. That's what it's all about, service work. That's huge in the beginning, too, also. When it's making coffee, holding the door, greeting people, telling them bye, putting chairs out, putting them up, and go, come to the meeting a little early. Don't walk in the last minute. We want to get to know you. That's what it's all about. Because the more we can get you talking, the better it is. There's a young guy, and he's been coming, but he won't talk. And so I did a little something different. And I don't really like to do this because sometimes it puts people out, on the spot. But we went around the room, and I was hoping he was going to talk, man, and he shut down on me immediately. But everybody tried to cheer him on and talk a little bit. He's a younger guy. He's going through a lot. And I get it. He's Spanish. He's been here his whole life. And in case people don't know that, they're kind of hard on addicts. They are. I know they sell a lot of drugs, and they do a lot of cocaine. But if their people get on opioids or whatever, they shun them, man. They don't want to have anything to do with them. And so he's struggling, and I know he is. And he's talked to me a couple of times. He said something to me. He said, "Man, every time you open up and talk, man, I feel like you're talking to me." And I said, I am talking to you." And so I like to hear them kind of things. And I know I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I just wish he'd open up because that's what it's all about. If we don't open up and let it out, you're not ever going to. When you get to that fifth, sixth step, it's not going to do you any good because you're not going to open up. And that again goes back to the sponsor thing. You got to have somebody that you trust because the whole idea is you're letting all this deep, dark bull crap that you got going on out of you. Um, Carrie, do you have a sponsor, Carrie?
No, not right now. You won't do it correctly. Like if you don't have somebody you could trust. It has to be that the sponsor just has to be that one person that you know you'll call. Because
Yeah.
there's a million
Yeah.
excuses not to call.
You know,
If you make
I
it clear.
tried back in 2012. Well, I say I tried. I didn't really try. It was a court deal. I had to go to rehab, but I can tell you this: I can still remember a lot of things about that. But what I would do is I would go to treatment. I wouldn't talk. I would sit there and I wouldn't want them to call on me. And so I'd give this old mean look, and most time it'd make them where they wouldn't call on me. But I wasn't getting anywhere. I was getting absolutely nowhere. I was on a one way train fast, headed nowhere. And that's what it's all about. It's all about comfort. That's why again, it's so important when you see that newcomer walk in that door that you show them nothing but love. Make them feel comfortable from the get go, because for whatever reason, it is a very uncomfortable thing. You're beat down, you're broken, you're at your worst, and whether you're in a treatment center and you go, because some treatment centers take them to outside meetings and some just bring meetings in. Something called oh, it made me think about that also. Something called HNI, which is hospitals and institutions. And what that is that they're people get together, people that's in the program, been sober for a while, and they go around to these places and they share the message and speak on these different things. And I'm going to get a group of them guys together, um, looking in about a week, and we're going to do a show together. And I think it's going to be pretty cool. We talked about it a little bit tonight. My sponsor is actually going to be there with me. And he's an amazing guy. A little background on him. When he got sober, he couldn't even read and write. Now he's got this whole book and every bit of the literature memorized. I mean, it's just an amazing story. Um, he's all in, man, and he's a great guy. Uh, he's come a long way, and he was a lot like me in a lot of ways. Did the time and did all that, but I'll let him share. He'll share more of his story. He loves this program, man. He had he had a little badge on tonight that said "NA Police," and I said, "Wow, you love this program so much, you didn't become the police." So um, he got it at a convention thing or whatever, but all that stuff's important. There's a reading that they do, Nick. Have you ever been to a meeting, Nick?
Not a AA, only court issued.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know the readings that's done at the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we do that at every one of them, and the reason we do that is because we as addicts, we focus with our eyes and we look and follow with our eyes. We don't really do it with anything else, and so repetition causes you to start hearing it and whatever. And there's a guy that I'm probably going to steal this from this guy too one day, but he does this deal where he says, take two fingers and put them together. And when he's doing it, he tells you to touch your chin, but he touches his cheek. And I'm telling you right now, 95% of people are going to touch your cheek, even though he said touch your chin, because that's how we are. We see, you get me? And that's a pretty cool little thing. He kind of did that tonight in there. And I told him I was going to steal it from him because I like it. But really and truly, at the end of the day, I don't really care which program you work. There's all kind of A's now, man. They got A's for everything. And they all did start with AA. If you don't know that story, you ain't never watched the Dr. Bob story or Bob story. It's worth watching. It's really, pretty cool how it all come about. It was divine intervention. Um,
What was
Bill
the
was there in the town and needed somebody to talk to and had the idea. And so he, back in them days, this was right after the war and stuff. So back then you'd have to pick up the phone, and an operator would come on, and he just told her, I want to talk to the town drunk. And she gave him the number. He called, and the guy wasn't having it. So he just went over there. And out of nowhere, man, here come the rest of it. But there was already a group before. I believe it was called the Oxford Group, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm wrong, somebody will tell me. But I'm pretty sure that's what it was called. And it really kind of come from that. Bill W. had a friend, and he got sober before him and came to him kind of with that idea. It was a little bit different. They didn't have all the writings and all this stuff, but it was a group of men that got together to talk about it, man. That's really what it is, because even back then, you really didn't talk to your wife about stuff. I don't think they really had a lot to say, and that's where it all began. And there's something to this shit. It works. It works for millions of people every day, and so that's why all this stuff's so important. This book and all those different things. So I'm gonna finish this on this, and we'll just talk then. But finally, Tradition 8 supports the integrity of the NA group by helping it preserve what is most important about its fundamental identity. What is Narcotics Anonymous? After all, but a fellowship of addicts freely sharing with one another the simple message of their own experience. The eighth tradition is a firm, permanent commitment on the part of each NA group to steadfastly maintain the feature of our program that is, indeed, of foremost value. By agreeing that Narcotics Anonymous should remain forever non professional, we reaffirm our belief that the therapeutic value of one addict helping another is without parallel. This is the heart of our program. So long as the heart beats strongly, our fellowship and our recovery shall remain vital. And that is so true. And that's why we do these. Hey, Bobby, how you doing? That's why we do these conventions and things that go on. And I went to one back in 2012. They had it in Nashville, and the treatment center I was at took us, and I actually got to go to all 3 days of it. And what I remember most about those 3 days is that on the third day, a guy stood up and said he had 24 hours, which means he'd either been sober and relapsed or this was his first time. And I'm going to tell you right now, I have still to this day not seen someone get so much love. But I mean, there's 10,000 people there. And it was amazing. I mean, just the outpouring of love. And that guy I'm talking about is still sober today. I see him different times. He doesn't speak. I figured he'd done been a speaker by now, but I see him at meetings and different things, and never forget people like that. And so again, that's what's so important. And you know, in AA, I've seen a lot of people who I call dry drunks, because as you work the steps and all that, you get spiritual. And when you get spiritual, man, we are able to let stuff roll off of us. We don't, sit there and just think about something so hard anymore, or all this different stuff. And you just become more open. And I've seen a lot of people, and a lot of them are older. You find a lot of people that are older in AA. I just wish they'd be more open to addicts, because that addict could have come there and sit there and been coming for, a month, but just hadn't said anything. And when they finally speak and you shut them down, I mean, come on, that's doing the wrong thing.
Yeah, you just steer them away.
And it's it's just the wrong way to do things. And Carrie, like she said, she went and they shut her down. Have you ever went back to an AA meeting since then?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can now.
Okay. No. Well, it took 2 years and a relapse for me to go to an AA meeting again. I went to NA. I went to a couple celebration recovery meetings. This was when I was in Franklin. But no, it took me a long time. I've been back to that meeting since. Um, in the last couple years, 3, 4 years ago. This was back 15 years ago. So it took me a long time to go back. I felt unwanted or unneeded, welcome. So if you guys can't welcome me here because of who I am, why am I coming? I don't belong here. That's exactly what.
Right.
And it took me a long time to go back. It's a horrible thing to do. Alcoholics are just as much drug addicts as we are, but they think of an addict in their mind as, um, you know, the homeless, dirty, on the corner shooting up heroin, and they're like, well, that's not me. Well, no, not yet.
Not yet. See, I love that.
It's
Not yet.
getting there.
Thank you, Bobby. I think Bobby sent me some gifts. That's the first time I saw that. Sorry, Carrie. I want to tell Bobby thank you real quick. I think he sent me some gifts. I see some stuff on there. Thank you. Oh, hold on a second, y'all. Sorry about that. My phone's ringing. It's gonna be Beth. Give me just 1 second. I'm on the show. I forgot. You was on that phone call. Is why. Love you. Sorry about that, y'all. Go ahead, Carrie.
Well, I mean, a lot of them they're at home, passed out on their couch with their kids running around. My brother-in-law, his kids were running around in the neighborhood at 2 and 4, and he was passed out on the couch. So, like, how is that any better than me? And actually, at that point, I wasn't home. I hadn't been homeless. So I was taking care of my son. He was clothed, he was bathed, he was clean. My family didn't know. I went to my mom 5 years in and said, I'm an addict. I got to go to rehab. And she had no clue. It blew her away. So, like, then they wanted to tell me my kids were dirty. My kid was dirty, and, how dare I, and try to take him away from me and all this shit. And it's like, wait, but if that was true, wouldn't any of you have noticed? So, yeah,
Wow.
not the greatest mother in the world because I was doing drugs. But it was at night when my kid was sleeping. I was the one that stayed in the house and didn't go anywhere, wouldn't interact with anybody. But I was just up all night and I made flashcards for my kid while I was using. But that's what I would do. I would color, I would do stuff like that. And I made all kinds of stuff for him. So you can't tell me. Now it got worse after the next relapse. You know, things got a lot worse. So it's just like, you know, not yet. I used to say things like, I'd never be homeless or whatever. No, not yet. So, yeah, I mean, I just felt like, how dare you think that I'm worse than you?
Yeah,
So,
it's
wouldn't go back.
you know, again, I always kind of, like I said, I've always considered myself a tough guy and all that. But I'm tell you, the first time you raise your hand in the meetings or whatever, it's. I was nervous, and but what I come to find out, and which most people will as well, is that people want to hear you talk. They want to hear what you got to say. We need it. We need to hear it because
We don't.
what you'll find, it's unbelievable sometimes to me, is that you'll be sitting there and you'll be thinking something, going through something, and somebody raise their hand and talk, and um, man, they said exactly what you needed to hear. So don't be shy. No one's going to be thinking you sound funny, you look funny. If you smell
No.
funny, we might tell you might need a bath. I was playing, but just all these different things. Do you want to come up and talk, honey? And so just remember that. Um, you can find. You want me to let you up now? You can find meetings everywhere. That's the thing about them. And like I was talking to Carrie earlier, we was messaging about Celebrate Recovery, and um, hey, baby, uh,
Oh, I'm on. Sorry, I'll mute. Sorry.
that's all right. That's okay. Uh, Nick's on here with me. Carrie's on here, and Bobby's on here. Bobby sent me some gifts a while ago. Something come up pop. I had never seen that. I just pulled it back down. So thank you, Bobby, very much. Bobby's in England. Bobby has never had a drug problem or anything. Never been to jail or any of that stuff. So I thank you for all the support. It's been on ever since the family show. I guess about a week ago or so. It comes on every night. I thank you so much. It means a lot to me to know that people will listen to me who don't have a problem. I'm a drug addict, and so we need that reassurance, and I need that pat on the back. I need to be told I'm doing a good job, kind of deal. Um, I guess I'm attention hungry. I get a lot from Beth, but I guess I just need to be patted on the back every now and then. What would you say, honey? You agree to that? Or do you
Yes,
need more
I would
attention?
agree. I would agree to that. But we all need that. Um, we all need to be recognized, acknowledged. And the thing is, with addicts, many or people that suffer with addiction have been put down all their lives, um, and need to know that they're worthy,
For sure.
and you are.
Thank you. I sure appreciate that. And a lot of people heard me say it, and I'll say it again. And I say it even when she's not on here, even when I'm mad at her, she's mad at me. I say, she's the one that showed me love. I didn't. I knew my grandparents loved each other. I always knew that, but I just kind of thought the whole love thing was a fairy tale. I just didn't really believe in it, but I believed in God. But I don't think I really even had a true relationship with God. A few times here or there until the whole love thing. Um, it is huge, and especially when you got two people that are really really good together and you are doing things. But man, I pushed back so hard. And I've done so much, and I felt that I wasn't worthy. I felt that she didn't respect me, and she couldn't respect me because I mean, hell, how could you respect that? But anyway, I don't want to talk about all that. You're gonna get me all whatever, but. It is important to be loved. That's what the program's all about, and that's what I was talking about tonight. I was talking about I read out of the book, and it's just talking about just how the NA program is and what you're supposed to do. And the newcomer was the reading of the day this morning, and so I read it first thing, and then in the meeting a while ago we read it again and was talking about it. But Beth and I'm going to talk about this mental health thing for a minute. We are going to do a mental health show and talk about that. I don't know what day yet. We'll do it. I'll advertise it so everyone will know that we're going to do it. And so, yeah, it's been a good day. I didn't last week. I think I only did 2 live shows last week, and I was trying to do one Friday night or Saturday night, whatever night it was, and it just wasn't working. And Nick couldn't hear me, and I went on and I cut it off. And I needed a spiritual recharge. And I can't forget them kind of things that I needed too. And we all do. And then I come on here and I get all the love and support on here. And so that does me a spiritual recharge as well. I could tell I was off. I was kind of called out about it on my sponsor as well. And that's a good thing about a sponsor, man. If you got a good one and you hadn't called them that day, they're going to call you and they're going to ask you what's going on and what you're doing. And when you get somebody like that and you build a friendship with somebody like that, and a lot of times it happens in a short period of time, and you'll build a friendship. And I had never had any real good friendship, real true friendships other than Beth. I've never had one. Mine have always been superficial or for dope. And then, I've talked about the gang or organization stuff and, all that stuff. You call each other this, that, but ain't none of that even real. That's probably the fakest thing I ever had in my life, to be honest about it. It's definitely one of the biggest regrets, but in this program, you will build true friendships. And it's amazing friendships. You just got to get out on that limb and ask that man to help you.
Can I say something?
So, yeah.
You are the 5 people you spend time with, so it's important to surround yourself with people that are positive and healthy and doing something with their life. It's okay to care about people, no matter where they are in their life, but it's important to be around people that are healthy and not toxic.
For sure. I mean, we know what I would do. I'd always run back to that same crowd, but that's just because I was wanting to do dope. It wasn't that I really thought there was no big friendship there. I didn't, but I was loyal a lot of times to them. They wasn't to me, but anyway, all that's whatever. That's the old life. But all that stuff's important. This program is important. It is. I know there's some people who don't have to do it. And Carrie, I'll tell you about Nick's story. I know he don't mind. He tells it on here. Nick was an alcoholic, and he quit drinking in 1998. I believe, Nick, I'm not wrong on that. Due to a bet. And somebody made him a bet, and the bet is that if he won, he would quit drinking, and if he lost, he would buy the rounds that week. And he won. He didn't think Denver was going to win, but they did, and so he quit drinking on that. There's not many people that can say that, but what it says to me about Nick is that he's a man of his word. He kept his word with his friend, and didn't you tell me you still see him, Nick?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you still see him. I remember. Yeah, you said you gave him a hug every time you see him. And so,
Yes,
yeah, it's amazing. So many people need to hear that story too. If you don't want to go in the program, I mean, give it a shot on yourself. But you got to remember, you need to be careful medically. Sometimes we forget about that part, especially with alcohol. That's the worst one. You'll die faster off of that, and Xanaxes and stuff. Don't get me wrong. This opioid stuff will kill you too. But I don't know how I didn't die. I went through some of the worst withdrawals. I mean, a person could imagine, and then I'd make them worse. I would take the Suboxone too early, and I'd always say I wouldn't. And the worst one ever, I was in a treatment center, and I was coming off of methadone, and I was doing fentanyl too. And I had took fentanyl into the treatment center with me, and because I wouldn't never win if I didn't have no drugs with me. And I went in with some, and so for the first 3 days, I sat in there high, and they knew it. They knew I had it, and they watched me. Unbeknownst to me, I thought I was all cool or whatever. Nobody know. And but when I was out, I immediately went down there and said, "You're gonna give me that Suboxone," and because I wasn't even really sick at the time. I just thought I was, and they didn't want to give it to me, and then I just kind of forced the issue, and they were going to give it to me, and they had already called Beth and told her what was going on, but I didn't know that. And as soon as they gave it to me, I mean, the second they gave it to me, I was using the bathroom and throwing up, and snot was running out my nose, and I told him I wanted to use the phone. I said I wanted my phone because they took your phone from me. I said I want my phone, and he said, "Well, about that we're going." I said, "No, I'm gonna count 3, and you're gonna see another side of me. You don't want to see." Long story short, and they give me my phone, but I called her and I said, "I need you to come and get me." She said, "I'm not coming to get you. And you're not coming home. You can do it in jail. You're gonna be okay." She stood strong, and I don't know how, she sure did. She stood her ground, buddy. She didn't come and get me. But that's one of the worst ones I've ever been through. But I was in a medical, facility there. It was a little bit easier. But the worst one I ever had in jail, period, was some some kind of synthetic drug I'd been doing, and I don't know what it was. It had the same effects as heroin, and I had been on it for a while, and That one was really bad. I laid on the floor 7 days. I didn't think, I thought I was going to die too, but I couldn't even get up off the floor half the time. They want me to go to medical, and I wouldn't even get up and go. My blood pressure got out of hand and all that stuff. So remember them things when you go to try to get sober. Reach out for help because it's not going to be easy. And this fentanyl stuff. For a lot of people, they don't even feel the withdrawal symptoms for days. You'll think you're okay, it'll kind of come and go, and then it'll get really, really strong on you. And when it gets to that point where it gets really, really strong, you're in the danger zone there. That's what it did to me. I went, I think 5 days or something. It was a long time, and then I got to where I couldn't take it no more. And I've been through it. Like I said, I've went one time in jail because I didn't sleep for 13 days. No sleep at all for 13 days. I didn't eat. Not eating was a big thing, and some people can sleep when they're detoxing. I can't. So, you add that to being in jail. That's the main thing you want to do is sleep. And so my point is just be careful because it's not a game. And man, they got all this other stuff they're putting in this stuff now, and it's rotting your skin out. I mean, so if it's rotting your skin out,
This is no joke either. I want to say this real quick because it's going in everything, and it's getting. If you have kids, this is for people if you don't use or use educate people on this xylazine, which is what they're calling the zines. A nitazine is a large animal tranquilizer. Um, and we knew about it over 4 years ago. But they're just now talking about it. This is stuff that Narcan that can reverse the opioid effects uh, for overdose. This does not Narcan does not work on this. It's made for elephants, horses. It's an anesthetic for animals, and it's going into these drugs, and it's going into pressed pills that look just like something you'd get from a pharmacy. It's They're putting it in marijuana. It's going in the cartridges that kids are smoking in vapes. It is so dangerous, and the scary thing is it's over the counter. You can buy it because it's used by the is it Farrier? I always say the wrong thing when
it is.
but
You're right.
yeah.
It is.
It's very scary. And Jelly Roll was just talking when he was um testifying with Congress or whatever over that, talking about he's afraid to give his daughter even a Tylenol. Um, he wants to make sure he sees the top come off of, the paper come off the top of the pill bottle to make sure what he's giving his daughter. It is no joke. It's very scary. And if they get a hold and control this nitazine, it's going to be something else. So it's important to educate people on this and children with um, every 5 minutes somebody dies from a drug overdose.
That's
That's
crazy, man. That's
so
insane.
scary.
It is
And
insane.
talking about mental health, every 11 minutes somebody dies from suicide. Y'all, this is stuff that doesn't have to happen.
No, but we don't in this country, man. We don't talk about it enough. The soldiers, these veterans, and that's another one that are in record numbers are taking their own life as well, and that pisses me off more than anything because this country, man. And come on, man, these young men went over there and they're giving their life for and getting messed up. I mean, for the rest of their life, and we just don't do enough for them. And but we give all this money to. I don't even get on that. I'll really get on a rant. I don't want to get on all that stuff, but it's really bad. But we don't see enough about it. There's more and more people now I've noticed on social media that are talking about stuff. I'm not a big social media guy. I am now just because of what I'm doing with this podcast. But on these videos and stuff, a lot more people are coming out making videos about it. I try to like all them and send them people a message every time I can. And I would encourage anybody else to do the same thing. Just let them know that someone's listening. I saw one where it's a young man and he's sitting there and he's playing with a baby and he's all happy and everything. He took his own life the next day. Um, if you see something, you see somebody's off a little bit, what I mean, even if you don't want to get in their business, get in it. I know it's going to be uncomfortable. Sometimes they might push back, but give it a chance, take a shot and see, because it happens overnight. It did for me. I went to bed one night and I woke up the next morning and I was different. I was a different person. I didn't know what was going on. I knew something wasn't right, but everything changed. I would get up in the morning and I would leave my house and I'd go sit in a parking lot somewhere, just a random parking lot, and I'd sit there all day long until it got dark, and then I'd go back home. Why, I don't know. I don't have a clue of why I would do that. It was something in my head. Um, so just look for the signs, and the same thing, for parents. You know, pay close attention to your children, because you would rather them get pissed off at you than bury them. Um, and again, I used to say the same thing. I used to say, man, they're putting fentanyl on everything. And in some cases they are. I'm not going to lie. These predators are put it in stuff like that. But more times than not, something's been weighed on the same scale as fentanyl was, and it only takes a trace amount, and you're dead, especially if you haven't been doing it. And if you've been sober for a while, you're dead. And that's what happens in a lot of cases, is that people get sober and then they relapse and they go back out. And we're very, very good. Makes us so don't fooled by the happy. That's right. Yeah, don't be fooled by the happy. And that's the ones that are really serious and very serious about it, is the ones that we don't know. My nephew, he took his own life, and no one knew. Knew he had some stuff going on as far as in a relationship, but he was a fighter, and he had a few head injuries and stuff, and they think that's what kind of did. No one really knows. He had 4 kids he left behind, and you leave a wake behind you, man. People will never be the same because they're just not going to understand it. No matter what, they're not going to understand why you did that. And Carrie said her cousin did too. I remember she told me that yesterday or last night, and it's sad. Somebody's going to get that phone call, and somebody's got to find your body, and whether it be your wife, your parents, husband, whatever it may be. And there's always a better way. And they say in these programs and stuff, you hear a lot of people say it gets better. It gets better for mental health too. I promise you it does. I'm living proof of that as well. I've got better with both of them, and I was not in a good place at all mentally. It was scary. It was just like I was on drugs. It was the same thing. So it's scary.
With that, though, you got to be careful because if you're not doing the work, it doesn't matter. So
You're
you can
right.
show up to meetings and you can do whatever. Don't go to the liquor store. Hide for like my first time. I was so, or it was 5 years. I just sat in my room all day. I literally didn't see anybody, and then didn't meet new people. I white knuckled it for 5 years, and then went back out and went hardcore because it doesn't work unless you're actually doing the steps, unless you're working. And then when you get a year or two in and you get complacent, you got to do something because that's when it creeps back in, and you're
Yep. You
right
got to
back
keep
into it.
you got
I've
to
done
keep
it
working the
twice.
steps over and over.
I done it. I've done it twice. 5 years. Well, and then 4 years. Second time I didn't isolate myself. I had a job. I was working and everything. But it's even when you get years in, you still got to make sure you're paying attention.
And me, I always did drugs by myself. Always. I'd be around people a very short period of time. I remember back in the days when I was still shooting drugs, Beth would stay on the phone with me just to make sure I made it through it. I mean, so you can only imagine what that was doing to her. And that's why her heart is where it is today with it. And that kind of got me there when I said that. But we got to think about what we're doing to somebody else, man. We don't. Um, and these things are going to eat your ass up also when you get sober. So you got to find a way to deal with it. And that's where the mental health part comes in. If it's not eating you up, you're not healing. You're not dealing with it. It's tough. I want to say I wish I could tell you it's going to be easy. It gets easier, but think about what you do for your drug. Think about you'd go to the ends of the earth to get it. I would. Wouldn't nothing stop me. I don't give a damn if I had a plastic screwdriver and you had a metal tank in front of me. I'd get through that metal tank to get it. I promise you I would. And so do the same thing for your life, because you're worth it. Someone said in a meeting tonight, people were in the back because there wasn't no chairs in front. Dude said, come sit on the floor. You sit on the floor for your dope. So, and that's true. Doing drugs really bad. I don't know why people do drugs. I don't either. Mine started with an accident. I had an accident when I was a kid, but I was already an addict. I truly believe that my mother done heroin with me when she was pregnant with me. I don't say that a lot. I don't talk about it a lot, but I just know she told me she did in the 70s, and I just happened to be born then. And so I kind of think that because my brother's not an addict. He used to smoke pot like most people smoke cigarettes, but last I heard, he hasn't been doing that in a while now either. So, but he didn't get the full addict gene, I did, and that's why I do believe that. But the guy that got her pregnant, he was alcoholic as well. So I just had a double whammy. I had it all around me, and the shit's real. It's a spiritual thing, also. You got to get your spirit right. Something in your spirit's wrong. There's other things. There's underlying problems there that you have to deal with. If you don't deal with them, you're just not going to get any better. And that's where steps come in. But the steps can also come in for the family members, people that love you. If they work them too, it'll help them too. Because you got to remember, you're getting help and you're getting all better. And the ones who love you are sitting at home, they're not getting any help. And so they're mad. They're pissed off. They got all kind of resentments, as they should have. And they're ready to talk, and you're not ready. And you got to get it right. Because if you don't, um, it's showing you still on, honey. I don't know what. Oh, I see now you're gone. Okay, well, Beth's gone. I'm going to end this thing in about 5 minutes anyway, y'all. It's going to give us a good hour. As always, Nick, thank you, buddy. Anybody's got anything to share or say, you're more than welcome. You can. I think it's been a pretty good show. Nick, I hope things get better for you, buddy. I know you got some stuff going on.
Oh yeah, it will.
Yeah, it'll all work itself out, man. My heart goes out to you because, like I said, I used to be the guy that would do them kind of things, man, and I hate it for you. And unfortunately, man, that's the world we live in today. It's only going to get worse. It's not going to get any better. Did any of y'all see? I'm going to touch on this real quick. Did y'all see where this Elon Musk guy is already, his scientists or whatever, have already planted a microchip in someone's brain? Did y'all see that?
No, I hadn't seen that.
Yeah, check that out. I saw a story the other day. I just happened to see it. And then someone told me earlier that, yeah, he's already done it. All this goes back to the Bible, in my opinion. And it's just, I've kind of wondered about that guy anyway. He's a little weird because, we felt uninvolved, invisible, and I'm on it. You're right, Carrie. I mean, you just told me my life right there, exactly how I felt. Because, again,
That first one makes you feel good, and doesn't matter what happened before that. So you just keep doing it because you felt good, and that's why you probably didn't know what it felt like to feel good. It doesn't stay like that. At some point it turns and it's just you gotta have it. You don't get the happy feeling anymore, or whatever
nope,
feeling it is you're getting. But it doesn't feel like that, and then you really are unloved and unwanted and hope to be invisible at that point because nobody wants you around them. Nobody shows you love. They may love you, but they're not showing anything. They don't want you near them. They don't want you ruining their celebrations. They don't want you, showing up drunk to a birthday party for your 2-year-old nephew. It's that kind of thing that they don't want. So you just create it for yourself.
you're right.
You have it. It's too late. Your body says nope, I gotta have it, or your brain says you gotta have it,
Yep.
depending on what you're using.
That one times took you out of everything, like you said, and you feel like somebody. And I know for me, I'd already been drinking and smoking pot and stuff. But when I took that first opioid pill, man, it was a different ball game. I remember it like it was yesterday, and it's been a long, long, long time ago. It's been, man, it's been 33 years ago. Wow, when I took the first one. Man, I'm getting old. But all right, guys.
33.
Beth lost power, and everybody, so she said bye. She went off. Carrie, thank you for coming on. I do appreciate it. And I appreciate you listening to all my shows. And Bobby, thank you so much. You come on here so much. And again, that tells me that people who are not dealing with issues and these kind of things are still listening. So I'm doing something right. Nick, thank you, buddy. I'll be back on, what is today, y'all? Monday? I'll be back on Wednesday night live. If I don't decide, me and Beth, I don't know what day Beth and I are going to do the mental health one. I'll put it on Facebook and all that stuff so everyone knows. And I'll be in touch. Again, if anybody needs any help, you can reach me at danegentrypodcast@gmail.com or Facebook and Messenger and all that stuff. Just send me a message and I'll get back to you. I promise you. And everybody have a good night. God bless. Please, just everybody, just reach out, man. That's the most important thing. No matter what it is you got going on. I don't care if you think you're eating too much. If you feel like it's a problem, reach out. Just whatever kind of aid you think you might have, and we'll get you some help. Again, thank you, everybody. We love y'all, and God bless.